You grab a coffee from the local cafe. You accidentally drop your change at the register, and the cashier helps you pick it up. These moments are so routine, so remarkably boring, that we stop paying attention to the people on the other side of the counter. We are conditioned by movies to think predators only hide in dark alleyways wearing ski masks, but the reality is much quieter. The most aggressive invasions of privacy usually start in broad daylight, during completely ordinary conversations. There are 3 primary methods that hidden threats use to infiltrate a person's life, forming what we can think of as the Stalker Playbook. This playbook relies on a specific psychological gap, the moment a person chooses to be polite rather than protected. These invasions of privacy aren't forced. They are often accidentally permitted because the initial signs of tracking go unrecognized. A 21-year-old college student stops by a local mom-and-pop bagel shop. As she goes to pay, her spare change spills all over the floor. The 24-year-old employee working the counter rushes around to help her pick it up, making polite conversation about how he dislocated his finger playing rugby. A few hours later, that same employee follows her on Instagram. She removes him, but he follows her again and sends a message saying he can't stop thinking about her. She never gave him her name. This diagram shows how easy it is to exploit digital breadcrumbs. By spotting a first name on a physical credit card, a person runs a localized search across public social media profiles in that town. Within minutes, a brief physical interaction becomes a direct digital connection. She blocks him. He immediately creates new accounts. By the time her evening shift at a local theater rolls around, she has over 100 notifications, spanning Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, filled with demanding messages and comments about exactly what she is wearing that day. Her theater rehearsal ends at 10 p.m. She walks out to the dark parking lot, keys in hand, and freezes. A shadowy figure is hovering right next to the driver's side window. She runs back inside and gets the stage manager to walk her out. The figure vanished, but the evidence remains. 2 distinct human handprints are pressed firmly into the glass of her driver's side window. Look at how this map traces the connection. By reposting a theater cast announcement on her Instagram story with a public location tag, she generated an instant GPS route for him. Her social media provided the exact physical coordinates of her workplace. The situation reaches its peak on opening weekend. The stalker bypasses the theater's box office security by claiming to be her boyfriend. He buys tickets for the entire run of the show and leaves a bouquet of flowers and a handwritten note waiting for her. In the modern era, digital boundaries and physical boundaries are identical. Compromising your security online automatically destroys your perimeter in the real world. It's 2 a.m. in Northern Ireland. A driver heading home spots a motionless figure standing completely still outside a closed pharmacy. The person is dressed entirely in black, wearing black leather gloves. As her headlights wash over the storefront, the figure lifts his gloved hands to cover his face, but his head slowly tracks her car as she drives past. She realizes she has just interrupted an attempted break-in, and the suspect is now watching her vehicle. Pure panic takes over. She speeds up slightly and, acting completely on instinct, pulls her car directly into her own driveway to escape. This top-down map illustrates her critical error. Her driveway is directly across from the pharmacy. By retreating, she established a direct, unbroken line of sight from the storefront to her residence. Once inside, he continues to watch, noting the exact moment a specific bedroom light turns on, pinpointing her exact room. At 3:30 a.m., she wakes from a deep sleep. The street is dead quiet, except for the sound of slow, casual humming coming from right outside her cracked bedroom window. Trembling, she slowly pulls back the blinds. The man from the pharmacy is standing inches away in the dark. He still has his gloved hands covering his face, but his fingers are spread to see him smiling at her. She dials emergency services, and the man vanishes into the night. When police investigate the smashed pharmacy door, they conclude that the suspect abandoned his original burglary attempt specifically to intimidate or target the witness. Retreating to your safe haven is a natural survival instinct, but doing so while actively being watched completely compromises the security of that sanctuary. A 19-year-old signs a lease for her first solo apartment. Within months, subtle anomalies appear in her home. She finds large, muddy footprints on the carpet. A brand new jug of water in the fridge is left open on the counter. Her thermostat is inexplicably cranked to the highest setting. She tells her friends, but they dismiss her concerns. They suggest she walked in with muddy boots and forgot, or that she's simply being paranoid, isolating her in a frustrating phase of gaslighting. This diagram shows the mechanical strategy she used to prove her space was being breached. Before leaving for work, she places clear tape across the bottom of her door and the frame. If the door opens while she's gone, the seal breaks. Her fears are validated. The tape is broken every single time she leaves the house, even for a 2-minute trip down the street to the complex dumpsters. One afternoon, she returns home to find her gaming system and several other electronics missing from the TV console. The theft is terrifying, but it finally provides undeniable physical evidence for the police that someone is actively entering her home. She moves out when her lease ends. 4 years later, the truth surfaces. The apartment complex's maintenance worker is fired and arrested for a string of break-ins targeting women. Look at this architectural layout. The maintenance worker used his master key to enter her unit, but his primary advantage was his own address. He lived 50 feet away, directly across the street, giving him a direct sightline to monitor her movements with total precision. A heavy deadbolt provides peace of mind, but physical locks offer zero protection when the threat is institutionally embedded in the environment itself. The digital stalker, the opportunistic burglar, and the embedded maintenance worker all exploited one shared vulnerability. The victims initially doubted their own instincts, prioritizing social politeness or a desire not to be dramatic over their immediate physical safety. To counter these methods, you have to follow strict rules. First, delay your location. Wait until you have completely left a venue before posting photos or tagging where you are online. Second, break the route. If you suspect you are being watched, never travel directly to your home. Drive past your street or navigate to a heavily populated public space. Third, trust your gut. If the energy of your space feels off or a stranger's attention triggers a physical response of dread, listen to that feeling immediately. Predators thrive in the space between your intuition and your hesitation. Ignoring those obvious red flags just to avoid making a public scene is exactly what they are counting on.